There is so much information out there on cancer, and with new studies released nearly every day, it's confusing and critical decisions can be overwhelming. Now, a new healthcare profession provides some guidance and navigation.
He came back to me with information about diagnostics and treatments that were out there that I knew nothing about.
Simple mistakes that could be made could become catastrophic to your treatment.
My mission is to empower my patient with information so they can make informed decisions.
Ken Schueler is a patient advocate. His ability to assess medical information helped save both Lewis's and Joyce's lives. He is also a cancer survivor himself.
Joyce came to me after she had completed chemotherapy and radiation, and she wanted to know, well, is there anything else that she should do?
You really are faced with your own mortality, and 6 months later they tell you, okay, fine, just go on with your life and just come in every 6 months for a scan. It just didn't seem like enough.
So Joyce hired Ken to make sure she wasn't missing anything in her treatment.
The first thing I see in the medical records is that she is triple negative.
This means Joyce did not have any of the 3 common receptors that fuel most breast cancers.
Women who have triple negative cancers can often have a BRCA mutation. BRCA is a repair gene. When it mutates, it can't repair anymore. When it can't repair anymore, cancer develops.
It happens to be a very scary piece of information if you find out that you have this mutation.
I always ask, what's your ethnic background? And she said, Ashkenazi Jewish. Now, Ashkenazi Jewish people have a much, much higher incidence of BRCA mutations. And I said to her, you absolutely have to get this test done.
The oncologist said he came out positive, but Ken Schueler made me believe that there were a lot of proactive things I could do if I came out positive.
So Joyce had her ovaries removed and reduced her risk of ovarian cancer by 95% and a second breast cancer by 50%, according to clinical studies.
It's not just about you anymore. And now, everyone in your family is faced with the possibility that they might have this mutation.
Other members of Joyce's family carry the mutation too and will be monitored.
Patient advocates educate patients about information that turns their treatment into personalized medicine. It's no longer one size fits all.
Ken encourages patients to ask their doctors to put tumor tissue on dry ice or paraffin for genetic testing.
Why? Because there are gene assays that can identify growth factors that could be hit with various therapies.
I was angry that I had cancer. I was scared.
Louis Chiricella was dumbfounded when his doctor told him he had colorectal cancer after a routine exam.
The fear was so out of control. It's not like being in a fist fight where you just keep throwing fists.
Louis was a Marine, and like a good soldier, he was going to follow doctor's orders.
The gastroenterologist referred him to somebody, and I looked him up and I said, he specializes in lung cancer. Why are you going to him?
Prior to colorectal surgery, a lesion on Louis's liver lit up on an MRI. A radiologist reported it was benign, but the oncologist said he wasn't convinced. So Ken pushed everyone to look at the report together.
He was very persistent about making sure that it wasn't just an off-the-hip diagnosis.
The meeting was worth the time, and the radiologist changed his report.
He wrote an amendment and said, oh no, this is metastatic.
Ken still insisted on more information about the lesions spotted on Louis's liver during surgery. Fox News was invited to witness the decision-making process.
We need to get further imaging to further characterize if there are lesions that spread from your colon cancer to your liver.
Dr. James Guerrera is a leading liver surgeon at New York Presbyterian Columbia, a top liver center. Ken encouraged Louis to get more opinions.
I don't want to make a quick, hasty judgment and just say we need to go have surgery.
You're convinced that there were metastases to Louis's liver, right?
If I was a betting man, I would say, based on the story, this is likely to be a metastatic lesion.
Ken and Louis discussed their meeting with the liver surgeon and explored options.
Contrast that with a much more aggressive position of Dr. Fong at Sloan Kettering, who said this is absolutely metastatic colorectal cancer in the liver.
Persistence paid off. The opinion from Sloan and Columbia were much different from the first radiologist who reported the lesions were not cancer.
If surgery is the option we need to exercise, then it's surgery it'll be. But I would like to make sure I have plenty of good information.
When colorectal cancer metastasizes to the liver, there's a 60% recurrence rate.
60% is not a good number to have stacked against you. I've done a lot of things in my life. I was in the Marine Corps. I jumped out of perfectly good airplanes and never been scared, and this has scared me. And you've helped me through that scared part.
I think it's very hard for we men who have cancer to admit that they're scared.
When I contacted you, it was like finding my compass. I had direction.
Imaging confirmed metastatic lesions. Given the 60% chance of recurrence, Lewis got the liver surgery at Sloan Kettering. Pathology reports showed the lesions were indeed cancer. Right now, Lewis is disease-free.
If I just went along with the original diagnosis, that could have been catastrophic.